Hey, how you doing? What you doing? I be in the break room. I be in the break room. Bet I'm in the break room. What you doing? Hey, what we doing? I be in the break room. I be in the break room.
Big Bink's Break Room Podcast. What's going on? It's your man Big Bink, special edition. First of all, let me just thank everybody who's been sending us these emails, giving us this feedback on the show. You know it is election season, and we've gotten so many emails from our home base. You know, me, Shawnee, Action, we all reside in Dallas, Texas. So there is a a couple of important elections going on in Dallas, Fort Worth, Metroplex. So what we wanted to do is make a show about voting. You know, we've done a couple, but this one, we actually have one of the candidates on. And so this is the Dallas election edition of Big Bink's Break Room Podcast. I want to bring this guy on. I mean, he's not just a regular candidate for Congress to me. This is a friend of mine. This is somebody who I did a lot of work in the community with. I mean, we did videos for kids together. We went to the high schools and taught them TV, film, and radio. This guy went and bought a bus with his own money, right, to promote the TV, film, radio, that whole arena, that whole ambiance, that whole area of expertise in communications. And I had the honor of joining him, teaching these kids and touching lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Want to bring to Big Bink's Break Room Podcast, Eric Williams, running for Congressman, District 30, Dallas-Fort Worth. That's huge, man. How you doing, man? Been a minute, bro.
Man, it's great to see you, Big Bink, man. It is, man. It's a blessing to still be alive in the middle of the pandemic and everything we got going on and all the economic faults we got in this world. I'm glad to be alive and glad to be hearing your voice and glad to see you doing great.
Likewise, man. How you been dealing with COVID, man? We going on 8 months, man. How have you been dealing with it, man? Just think, man, this started way back in March.
Right, man. It's phenomenal, man, because you know, this whole pandemic piece has been an eye-opener and an eye-awakener for all of America and the world. It lets you know just how short life really is and how important it is for us to love one another and stop with the division in America. Because at the end of the day, God knows how to move on this planet and get our attention. And I believe he's done that. And how I've been dealing with it, man, I've been wearing this mask tight.
Right.
I mean, it's real. I mean, we need to get the word out that we as African Americans and Hispanics, and my family is Asian, you know, we need to get the word out to the minority community that, hey, this thing ain't no joke and it's touching us disproportionately.
And
us more than anybody.
And not even to mention the generational impact that this election is having in the world. This will be a generation-based election. Would you agree?
Oh, man, without a doubt, man, because, you know, we're talking about Supreme Court nominees, you know, that's serving for life, you know, and this court is about to be a conservative court that's going to make decisions about your kids and my grandkids' lives for at least 20 to 30 years down the road. And this election is really important because of the fact that we have congressional leaders that are being elected along with the president who actually make the laws. The president signs them in the law. The leaders like myself, when I'm elected, we would make those laws and impact those communities that you and I live in. So we got the president at the top of the ticket, but we got to go all the way down the ticket to elect the people that actually put the pen to the paper. You know, being an independent, my goal is to bridge the divide, bring people together, be a negotiator, a bridge builder, and not a divider. And so that's one of the things that we're missing in Congress right now, people bringing people together and to work together. And so I don't want to go in with the mentality of, well, if Donald Trump wins again, and I so be blessed to win, I got to work with him on your behalf and other constituents have in District 30. As well as if Joe Biden wins, I need to work with Joe Biden. Now, as far as Donald Trump's policies, he has a lot of things I disagree with him on, and he has done some things that I have agreed with him on. But for the most part, I am not a Republican. No, am I a Democrat. I'm not on either team. I'm an independent.
Let's talk about some concerns that you have running for Congress that's really hitting Dallas-Fort Worth right now. Let's talk about our homeless people and our veterans. 6,000 veterans a year kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? Mental illness. That suicide rate is 1.5 higher than the average citizen. So what are some of the things that you're looking to do to help our veterans and our homeless people right here in Dallas-Fort Worth?
Well, number one, we need to get them off the books until they get their disability. I talked to so many veterans while gathering signatures all around Dallas to get my name on the ballot. Congresswoman Ed Bernice Johnson has just failed them. They can't even get a meeting. I mean, some of these guys have been waiting 20 or 30 years just to get on disability and no help. Some of them are on the streets. So mental illness is running rampant in the military. PTSD is killing a lot of our young black men and brown men. And mental illness is really important to me because I've lost 2 brothers to suicide. And so that touches me deep. So we need to save our youth and save our veterans from this, I consider it a disease. And that's how we need to treat it. And we don't have mental health facilities on the southern sector side. We have 1. And we need to expand that. When I'm elected in November, I plan to expand mental health research and facilities on the southern side of Dallas.
Just under 20% here in Dallas-Fort Worth is the immigrant population. And as we know, there's a big Latino base here in Dallas-Fort Worth. What are your plans to address black and brown underserved neighborhoods within your powers running for Congress District 30?
Well, great question, because one of the things that I just did today, I was over at the Pinks over in Highland Hills. People are getting evicted over there. And so we're having a press conference this Friday to bring heat to them to keep these people from being evicted. $30 million of HUD money was found missing in Dallas. The FBI had to investigate. That's $30 million of your taxpayer money missing. We need to be holding the cities accountable for this money like Dallas.
And in case you're just tuning in, this is Big Bink's Break Room Podcast. This is the Dallas election edition. We have Eric Williams, who's running for Congressman District 30. Let's talk about police reform, man, because, I mean, one thing that the pandemic taught me, that the pandemic was able to shine the light on racism in this country. Now, I mean, let's keep it funky, E. We knew racism was here.
Absolutely.
But I think during this time, during these last 7 months, we've seen an up-close microscope of what's going on around the world with police brutality and police thinking and police shootings. Now, here in Dallas-Fort Worth, the most publicized killing of I don't want to butcher his name. Is it Botham John? Botham John. We saw that happen. And a lot of people think that justice was served, but a lot of people don't think justice was served. And let's talk about Jonathan Price. This happened maybe about a month ago, right outside of Texas. He was killed by a police officer. What do you plan to do to help black and brown? I mean, it's black and brown people, period, but mainly our young men.
Yes.
What do you plan to do to help them with police reform?
Well, I would say number one, being abolishing qualified immunity. I want to implement a standalone bill and author a bill for abolishing qualified immunity. And what is qualified immunity? Qualified immunity will take away the umbrella of protection from these police officers when families like mine are seeking a financial settlement when they kill an individual like they did with mine, Jordan Edwards, down in Balch Springs. I don't know if you remember that Jordan Edwards was the youngest African-American killed to this date in the hands of police. That was my cousin. You follow me? And so when it comes to police reform, it's top of the list for me. And then I'm going to take you back down memory lane, Bink. I don't know if you remember, you contacted Ricky Smiley for me at the request of me years ago when the Super Bowl was here, and I got a $500 ticket while sitting black at the Super Bowl. That's part of police reform. That's bringing down sovereign immunity and abolish qualified immunity for these government officials and police officers that violate our First Amendment rights. So that's number one. And then mandatory desensitivity training.
Absolutely.
For these police officers. I mean, bringing down the rhetoric and the tone a little bit. And if we need be, I don't really want to give them batons, but we may need to think about just putting batons in their head, but it's too much crime going on in America right now.
Right.
But when it comes to guns in our community, one of the things as part of my police reform package I would like to do, because a lot of people don't like to talk about touching my guns and things like that. I don't want to touch the guns. I want to replace the guns. I want to replace the guns with smart guns. We got smartphones. We need smart guns. If you touch that gun knows that that's your finger, and then you the only one can pull that trigger. And it's identified and it's monitored. People may say that's invasion of privacy, but we need drastic changes for drastic times, my brother B.
Yeah. In case you're just tuning in, it's Big Bink's Break Room Podcast, the fastest growing podcast. This is the Dallas edition, Dallas election edition voting show. I have Eric Williams, who's running for Congressman District 30 right here in Dallas-Fort Worth. And I mean, you got about a minute, E. What do you want to say to the people that's watching this show that might be on the fence, about voting, that might not have everything that they need to make their decision, and who's wondering what's happening with the next congressman, possibly of Dallas-Fort Worth? The floor is yours.
Well, I can say this much. I believe in that in unity lies power, looking to come together and looking to create a new force, opening up the process, the political process for everybody, inclusion in the debates and changing the political landscape and the culture of our community. And we must assert our political power by breaking out of both of these parties. We got to break out of the Democratic Party and Republican parties and build new alliances together with our community and own an independent voice. This is the reason why I'm running as an independent, because number one, we didn't ask to come here. When we came here, and our forefathers came here as slaves, but we had to work here independently to break away from the bondage of slavery that bound us for so long. So we need to go back to the basics of this. The Democratic Party and Republican Party has failed us. Just look around America. So let's have what I call direct democracy. Let's let the people create the bill. I author the bill, take the bill to Congress, and we get it passed like that. Direct democracy. Look it up.
It's Big Bink's Break Room Podcast. In case you're just tuning in, I'm talking to Eric Williams, who's running for Congressman, District 30, right here in Dallas-Fort Worth. But I had to bring one of my partners on, man, because me and my man E-Class, we've been rolling, man, almost 15, 16 years, man.
Yes, sir.
This guy is Carter alumni. This guy is part of one of the most familiar, famous record labels to come out the South, Swisher House. You know what I'm saying?
I know the name.
He done had a couple of chart-topping hits, and he Carter alumni. He from the Southern sector.
I love him already.
When he found out I was talking to you, he was like, "Hey man, bring me on. Let me holler at the bro." So E-Class, meet Eric Williams.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's an honor to meet you, and I just wanted to commend you and salute you, and thank you for speaking on our behalf.
Yes, sir.
People, they get out there and try to speak for us and do things for us, but they're not from where we are, so they don't understand.
They don't understand. Yes, indeed. So you from the area, so you definitely know what challenges lie ahead for us in District 30, having been homegrown in the area.
Yeah, definitely, man. And you touched on a few points that we stand behind, desensitizing the officers and, mandatory desensitizing training and, the traffic congestion. We need all that needs attention in Dallas.
Please get out there and vote. You could change the world. Eric, I appreciate you, man. How do people get in touch with you on social media if they might want to donate to the campaign?
Well, basically, they will go to ericwilliams2020.com. or they can email me at campaign@ericwilliams2020.com.
Yeah, what up? It's Big Bink from Big Bink's Break Room Podcast, reminding you that it's time to make a change. Hey, it's time to vote. Now, think of it like this. Politicians, billionaires, they got all that bread, right? And they got to vote. So why isn't your vote as important as it is for them? Because you put them in office. You control what happens in this next go-round. 2020, Trump, Pence, Biden, Harris. What you gonna do? Now look, remember, if you've moved or maybe even changed your address or your name or last name or got married or whatever, you gotta make sure that you're registered, and then you gotta get that verified. So make sure you triple check your voting information, because you got to make that change November 3rd. All right, November 3rd. Get out there, get your vote on. Matter of fact, if you can vote early, that probably would be better. Make a change. Do your part. I know the Declaration of Independence say everybody is created equal. That ain't what's happening in these streets, and we know that. But you got the power to change that. Vote November 3rd, all right? And don't forget to follow us on Big Bink's Break Room Podcast, the fastest growing podcast. Vote 2020. We looking for you.